Hi, friends, welcome to the Binge On Life podcast. I'm your host, Ragesh Raj, wishing everyone a glorious day. If you're listening to my podcast for the first time, I welcome you all once again. If you love the podcast, it would be great if you could follow me on Spotify. Please do check out my other podcast also. This week, I'll be podcasting about one of the most common fears that most of the youth are facing today, the fear of being judged. For many, this fear can also be a nightmare. I recently read an article on the internet that around 40 million adults in US experience a form of anxiety and around 15 million in that are having social anxiety disorder, which includes an intense fear of being judged or being rejected by others. So that's literally like a huge cloud over us. So the question here is social anxiety disorder treatable? And what are the methods by which it is possible? Yes, social anxiety disorder is treatable and it can be done by a series of efforts. Firstly, it begins with changing the way you feel. Social anxiety disorder makes you feel like, why am I the only one who is suffering like this? Is everyone fine without me? I feel like no one likes me. I feel like they are always giving an excuse to mingle with me. These kind of negative feelings constantly may dwell inside you. And this is where you need to start working on. Observing your negative emotions and avoiding to cope with your negativity. Negative emotions with social anxiety disorder can make you more and more isolated. It makes your brain fail to think straight and even at the extreme lead to suicidal thoughts. Most times, people try to cope these negative feelings with the intake of alcohol, which they feel might make them forget things, but in actual, it worsens things. Acknowledge your negative thoughts, replace them with gratitude. Think of all the good things that you have. Slowly, you will see you are building resistance to your negative thoughts. Secondly, then start to reframe your thoughts. Many a times we feel stress is really bad, and that's where the problem lies. We never try to understand or investigate the core reason of stress. We focus on the after effects of stress majorly. Stress can be sometimes be channeling you to a higher purpose. This, if you recognize, this can be much more better. I remember one of the famous quote by Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos. Stress primarily comes from not taking action over something that you have some control over. In most of the times, I feel this quote is really apt. Thirdly, begin with small conversations. Begin your journey to breaking your social fears by small conversation. Just like wishing a good morning to people who you see daily. Try grabbing a coffee with your colleague or your schoolmate. Every small effort that you put yourself matters. Also, try to prolong the conversation by asking more questions. Try being an active listener also. Keep a distance from your smartphones. Engage in talking to people, asking them about the day. Beginning your conversation with people who you know, slowly add one by one person to it. Thanks, good day, have a nice day. These kinds of words at the end of the conversation makes the other person feel better while talking to you. Include this in your daily conversation. Maintain the smile on your face while they share their delightful experience. I hope you loved this episode. In the next episode would be our final episode on social anxiety disorder. We'll be talking on much more methods. That's all with today's episode. Until I come up with another episode, take care of your mental health.